Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Music Den. I'm your host, Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a good day. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another segment. Yes, another segment of Going for the One. We are looking at our favorite debut albums. Yes, thank you for the visual guide there, Jim. And up next, we have Sagosh, who's going to be giving us another one of his favorite debut albums. Sagosh.
Thanks. Today we're looking at the debut album from Judy Sill, released in 1971 on Asylum Records. In fact, it's the first album ever to be released on Asylum Records. Geffen has signed Judy Sill for the first time. And hers, we spoke about Nick Drake earlier, and Judy Sill is in some ways a very similar tragedy. She had a lot of struggles. She again made some beautiful music that was not appreciated in its time. This album really had everything going for it. I mean, she was signed by Geffen. She was at the peak of the singer-songwriter movement. She had a great song for a single, which was actually produced by Graham Nash, specifically targeted at radio play. And all of this couldn't achieve the success that she deserved. So it's another great tragedy, a great loss. Judy Sill, to me, exemplifies the fact that beautiful music can come from some very, very unlikely places. I mean, if you read about her life, it's been one train wreck after another with addictions, bad relationships, uh, in and out of reform homes, random crime for the sake of it, heroin addiction, LSD addiction, you name it, and she's been there. And out of all that comes this almost angelic music. It is very, very hard to reconcile. I mean, when you listen to the album, it just takes you to a completely different space from what reading about her life takes you to. It's surreal. And the way she balances her themes of, whether it's romance or spirituality or just plain surrealism, it really gets to you. And a melodic sense is out of this world, whether it's, folk based or country based melodies, or her real core, which is extremely close to the classical and Baroque sensibilities of Bach. The kind of
Mhm.
melody and the kind of she puts on is very, very reminiscent of early spiritual music. There's a great deal of spirituality, a great deal of uh, a sense of divine in her work, which, as I said, is very surprising given her life. But that's just the beauty of music. Now, this album has quite a few great tracks. One I'd like to talk about is "The Lamb Ran Away with the Crown." It's a beautiful, beautiful song that almost sounds like a nursery rhyme with themes of the lamb running away with the crown. It reminds you of the cow jumping over the moon or something like that.
Yeah,
But
I get
the
that.
way
I get that.
it sets those themes and makes it about something bigger is just amazing. Then there is Lady O, which is a song that was actually a minor hit for the Turtles. And again, a beautiful melody. And there's a thing about the way she constructs her melodies and the way her voice takes those melodies along. It's very smooth, it's very flowing. There's not so much of pausing between notes or between phrases. One phrase just seems to melt into another, and there's true beauty in that. It's very unlike most other singers you hear. Of course, the recognized classic is "Jesus Was a Crossmaker," which is supposedly about her failed relationship with J.D. Souther.
He got around, didn't he?
Oh,
JD
Laurel
Souther.
Canyon, of
Oh
course.
God.
Yeah.
Apparently, he did a yeah. The beauty of the spec, like what would Jesus do? And she says, okay, I guess I'll forgive him. I guess even he's not beyond redemption. And it's put in a very beautiful way. And that "Jesus Was a Crossmaker" is the single that really should have put her on the map. Like I said, it had Graham Nash producing. It's superbly arranged, has a fantastic melody, great chorus, and it's been covered by others, including Warren Zevon. It had all the makings of a great, classic for the ages. I am really not sure how this didn't catch up. And the biggest tragedy, I think, for Judy Still was probably that she just did one more album and then she just went into a downward spiral of addictions and problems. And 6 years after her second album, when she passed away, how quickly we forget. The entire industry didn't even deem her worthy of an obituary.
Oh my
This
God.
Yeah.
She was only discovered again, I think, in the 2000s or thereabouts, where again she has been now held up as an example by a lot of younger songwriters. In fact, there's a song by Nico Case on the Case Lang Weir's album called Song for Judy, where she pays her own little tribute to Judy Silk, and it's very moving. Both the albums, Judy Sill and Hot Food, are well worth having. I think they've both been reissued and are commonly available. But the one I have and the one I'd recommend if it is still in print, I'm not too sure, is this double disc set called Abracadabra, The Asylum Years, which covers pretty much everything she recorded for Asylum.
I'll check it out.
It's got both plus some bonus tracks and some material that was intended for a third album that never quite got them.
Yeah,
It's a
there's
great
some
addition.
live cuts on there too that are really good.
I'm going shopping, but anyways,
Yeah.
interesting.
Jim, you have
Yeah, I was just gonna I was gonna recommend Abracadabra as a great entry point because it does have the totality of her two albums for Asylum, plus all these bonus tracks that you were talking about. And yeah, I mean, if people are familiar with Joni, Laura Nyro, Jane Siberry, or Suzanne Vega, Judy Sill is an easy recommendation. I mean, she totally fits into that wheelhouse, and like you're saying, Nico Case, is very familiar with her. I think there's a lot of other more modern folks like I think Courtney Hartnett comes to mind, who has talked about Judy Sill. There's actually a cover album that's been done about all Judy Sill songs, and so yeah, the word is getting out around there, and I think it's just one of those things that the underground people knew about, and it finally started to burst into the mainstream. I mean, I heard about this from the Steven Wilson Tim Bonus podcast called The Album Years, and I first heard about Judy when they covered 1974, and then they included Heart Food in that. I'm like, who's this? I've never heard of her, and checked it out, and holy cats, it's just fantastic stuff. Very deep, very heartfelt, very unique. And, we talked about, you know, Sagoshi brought Five Leaves Left from Nick Drake earlier. Again, if you like Nick Drake, easy sell for Judy Sill. Absolutely outstanding.
Okay, I gotta check this out. Oh God, I never heard of her before, ever. Not even her
I should
name.
I don't think there's a lot of footage of Judy Sill, but there's this one beautiful performance from uh, the old grey whistle test of the song. It's really worth checking out. I really like.
Okay. Okay. All right. Ken, do you have anything to add?
No, I'm with you, Armando. I recognize the name. Um, I Googled, I recognize her face, but I don't know if I've ever actually heard any of her stuff. So, yeah, that's definitely on my to-do list today.
Okay. All right. No, I've never heard of her name or any of the music, so I need to check this out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Another segment of Going for the One. I want to thank Sagosh, Ken, and Jim for joining me on this adventure, and it has been an adventure so far. And if you know of any of the albums that we've talked about, please put down in the comments below your opinions of these debut releases or any other favorite debut releases you may have. Again, we want to get a really good dialogue going on these albums and other albums that you want to talk about. And yeah, we're in the thick of it now, ladies and gentlemen. And we have a lot more to go. So again, I want to thank everyone for joining me, and I want to thank you for watching. And again, click like and subscribe and hit the notification bell to keep yourselves on top of any new content we've got coming up. And we will be back with another segment, big surprise, of Going for the One. All right, have a good day. Bye for now.